What is up, guys? Sent here, back at it again with another MLB tier list. And today we're back at it again with third basemen. Let's get on into it. First up, we got Josh Rojas, who's honestly an underrated guy from the Arizona D-backs that doesn't get talked about at all. He doesn't have a ton of power, but he gets hits. He gets on base, he gets hits. So I'm going to put him in B. He's deserving of B. And why is trash there? That should be D. Alright, next up, Austin Riley. Austin Riley goes right into A tier. He's a great third baseman. Next up, Ramon Urias. Also not talked about really at all. He is a pretty good third baseman. Doesn't get talked about enough. He also will join the B tier. He's not bad, to be honest. Alright, next up, Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers will join the A tier, too. I feel like A tier and S tier is different on tier lists. Like, on second baseman, yes, Rafael Devers is probably the best second baseman. Same thing with Austin Riley. But the real problem is there's 3 S tier third basemen that are just on another level. That's the real problem. And next up, we got Patrick Wisdom. Patrick Wisdom is also an underrated third baseman in baseball. But he had a very bad year, so we're going to put him in C tier. Next up, Mike Moustakas. He is kind of fallen off the last couple of years, sadly. He also used to be a very fun guy to watch. But as of late, these last couple of years, Mike Moustakas has not been great at all. But I'm going to put him in D tier. He was really bad this year. Next up, Jose Ramirez, S tier. Next up, we got the Colorado Rockies third baseman, Ryan McMahon. Ryan McMahon's going right to B tier. Next up, Nolan Arenado. He's going to go right to C tier. Nolan Arenado, the last couple of years, has been not great, sadly, for the White Sox. Next up, Heimer Candelario, also going right to C tier. Heimer Candelario had a very bad year. He also got cut by Detroit recently, too. Next up, Alex Bregman, right to A tier. Next up, Bobby Witt Jr., one of the best fielding third basemen in baseball, goes right to B tier. Next up, Anthony Rendon. He's going to go right to B tier, even though he's been really bad the last couple of years, but he's had some very good past seasons, and I can't throw him in C tier yet. I need to wait and see how it goes. Next up, Justin Turner. He's also had some great seasons, but this year, he honestly wasn't talked about enough, so I'm going to put him in B tier. Next up, Joey Wendell for the Miami Marlins. Joey Wendell's honestly pretty solid for third baseman. He is going to go right into B tier. Very underrated. Next up, we got Luis Urias. Luis Urias is pretty good. Also, a guy who's not talked about enough. A lot of third basemen who are not talked about enough. He has some power. He has pretty good swing. So he's going to go right into B tier. Lots of B tier third basemen. Next up, we got Gio Urshela. One of the best fielding third basemen in baseball. He does a great job at fielding. He's also the Angels' third baseman now. Also, if Luis Arraez was on this list, he'd go right to A tier. But Gio Urshela, also going to go right to B tier. Next up, we got Eduardo Escobar. Eduardo Escobar is going to go in the B tier too. Also a pretty solid third baseman. Next up, we got DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu is a guy who gets hated on way too much, in my opinion. But he is also B tier. Yeah, lots of B tier in this one. Next up, we got Sheldon Neuse. Sheldon Neuse had a very bad season, and he's going to go in D tier. No hate to Sheldon Neuse, but he had a very bad season. Next up, we got Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm had a pretty solid season after starting off very bad. But his defense is also pretty bad. So he is going to go into B tier too. Yeah, lots of B tier. Lots of it. Next up, we got Ke'Bryan Hayes. Ke'Bryan Hayes, one of the best fielding third basemen in baseball. One of the most underrated third basemen in baseball too. This dude is extremely good. I want to put him in A tier. I feel like he's better than all these guys here though. I'm going to not do it. He didn't have the best season. So I'm going to throw him in B tier. He's got to get a little better at swinging the bat. As of late, he hasn't done a great job at that. His 2020 was amazing. Sadly, he hasn't done that stuff lately. So we are going... Next up, we got Manny Machado. Manny Machado, automatic S tier. One of the best in baseball. Next up, Eugenio Suarez. Eugenio Suarez is not really talked about a ton, to be honest. But Eugenio Suarez, he hits homers. He does what you want. Going right to B tier. Next up, we got Evan Longoria. Evan Longoria, as of late, has not been great. He's going to go into C tier. Not great from Evan Longoria. Next up, Nolan Arenado, automatic S tier. Next up, Yandy Diaz, one of the most underrated players in baseball. Yandy Diaz does not get talked about enough. And I'm going to do it. He's going to A tier. Yandy Diaz should have been an all-star this year. Dude had a 143 OPS plus, 824 OPS, 296 BA with a 401 OBP. 78 walks to 60 strikeouts. Only 9 home runs, but who needs home runs? He's a baseball player. He loves life. He's playing very fucking well. Yeah, that was not needed, but whatever. Next up, Brad Miller. Brad Miller this year was very bad, sadly, so he's going to go right to D tier. Next up, we got Matt Chapman. Arguably the best defensive third baseman in baseball. Didn't hit well, but, yep, you know where this is going. Another B tier. And next up, we got Maikel Franco. Maikel Franco, he also had a very bad season. He is going to go in D tier. And that is pretty much going to do it for this video. I'll see y'all in the next one. See ya and goodbye.